Oh, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and we are live here at Sunshine Cottage. Welcome, and if you are new to the broadcast, the reason I have boxes in your vision is because I have recently moved into a new property, and I'm in the process of unpacking. And they could be there for a long time, so get used to it. The subject today that we're going to be talking about is drama. And we're going to be talking about how to limit it in your life and how to control it in your life, which I hope will be helpful to some of you. The other thing is I want to talk about what is drama versus what is support, because I think people get mixed up with that sometimes, which is, well, how do I know whether they need support or whether this is just drama? So I wanted to talk a little bit when we've got, quite a few people in the room. I thought what we would do is have a little discussion about that and get your input, how you know the difference between the two and some of the tricks that you have learned. So that's what I would really like to do. Hi there, Jody. Good to see you. So the three things that I want to talk about today mostly are triangles, triggers, and yes buts. Those are the three things that I think cause the most problem for people. And therefore, they're the ones that I would like us to talk about a little bit more. Nice to see you too. Yeah, thank you. So for those of you watching for the first time, feel free to participate. Just know that if you put chat up, the regular viewers know that if they put chat up, I will probably talk about it. In other words, I will say so-and-so has just mentioned da-da-da-da-da-da. If you are new to me, I may check with you a couple of times just to make sure, or if I don't remember the name, I will probably check with you a couple of times just to make sure that you want this to go public. Because please remember, these broadcasts go onto a replay after the live broadcast. And that's a really great thing, because if ever you miss a broadcast, you can go and see it. Hi, Charlotte, good to see you. And then, no, Charlotte, I didn't see your Facebook comment on the post. I have been getting ready, but feel free to let me know here. So anyway, the thing about this is that being able to watch it later works really well for some, or listen to it later works really well for some people, and that's why we like to have it up on the rebroadcast. When I do that, I take out the chat, or I try to remember, and if I forget, Nana reminds me. She's very good at doing that. I love it. Oh, you left an example? Okay. Did you do that on the, what I'd like to do, if I may, Charlotte? Yeah, if you could. And then I will, add it in either this week or next week. I've got a feeling that the reason I left that survey up for a week is because I thought we'd talk about it a bit and then we do some more examples of it maybe next week. So that is great. Thank you. I appreciate it, Charlotte. Well done. So if you want to just type it here so that I can see it, that's great. If it fits in with what I'm doing today, then I will add it in. Does that make sense, Charlotte? And thanks so much for being here. For those of you who don't know, Charlotte is our marathon runner. And I say that because she's been working her way up from 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers. I think you what are you up to now, Charlotte? I know, I'm just so impressed. And it shows, Charlotte. I really must say that. When I see pictures of you today versus the pictures I saw of you when I first met you, it just is amazing, the difference in you. Well done. She's done a half marathon already. Isn't that awesome? And this is somebody who, lives in the coldest climate in Canada. No excuses, she still runs. What I thought I would do to start off with is give you a definition that I found of what drama is in relationships. We're not talking drama as in acting. Well, actually, I'd like to think that in a way it is, because it's people acting out 9 times out of 10. So here we go. In relationships, drama can be defined as manipulating others so that our own conflicts can be acted out on a larger stage, or allowing ourselves to be manipulated by others for the same purpose. Okay. and just while I read that, Charlotte's putting up, she's done 3K, 5K, 8K, 10K, 13K, 15K, and now the half is 21K. I am so proud of you. We are all so proud of you, Charlotte, and it really does look great on you. That is the most important thing for you to know. It shows on your face that you are succeeding, and you've done it literally one step at a time, right? Or in your case, 1 kilometer at a time. By the way, for those of you who don't know how many kilometers that is, I mean, how many miles that is, hang on a second. I have Alexa here. I'll ask her. Alexa, what is 21 kilometers in miles?
21 kilometers is 13.05 miles.
13.35 miles, I think. You probably heard her better than I did. So, and there you go. You see? It's actually 13.35, Charlotte. I just thought I'd let you know. And by the way, after I went to all this expense of getting Alexa, I realized I already had Alexa on my phone, didn't I? But, by a different name. And the reason I say that is that if you've got an Android or any other phone, I'm sure, and you just press, what is 21 kilometers in miles?
21 kilometers is equal to
13.049 miles. 13.049. 05 it is, 13.05. Okay, so there you go. We've all got Alexa on our phones if we want it. And that's, I only realized that after I bought Alexa. And I think on Apple it's called Siri, right? And I don't know what.
I don't know that one.
Alexa doesn't like the competition. Siri, I don't know that name, she's saying. All right, so here we go. Let's go back to drama. And just before I do that, a couple of things. If you've got a topic you'd like me to talk about, please write to me at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. I do look at my emails and I do respond to nearly all of them, I think. I pride myself in that. And is it called Bixby on Android? Yes, but I haven't got Bixby set up, but I do have this anyway on Android. You just have to press the little microphone button and ask it a question. I don't know why I've never set up Bixby. Yeah, I don't like the name for some reason. All right, so please feel free to write and let me know what topics you would like me to discuss. We don't have perfect answers, but we do discuss things that a lot of people are struggling with, and by that we all learn. The other thing is, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Here, follow us on subscribe thing and click the little button, no, the bell. The bell will let you know when I am going to be broadcasting. I also will let people know on Facebook and Twitter, normally 35 minutes. Today it was 15. Well, what can I say? I was late this morning. So let's have a look at drama in relationships, right? And how many of you have been in a relationship with a friend, with a lover, with, a parent, whatever, whatever that relationship is, doesn't matter. How many of you have had it and been in drama? What I liked about this conversation, sorry, let me just change the typeface on this for a second so I can read it all. That didn't work very well, people. Okay, just bear with me a second because I put this in. Okay, so if you would like the simple version of what drama in a relationship is. The situation is often manipulated so that we are justified in having the feelings we want to have. Okay? So how many of you have been in a situation where somebody asks for your opinion and you give it and then they say yes, but? That's the yes, but of the three things we're going to talk about. Triangles, triggers, and yes, buts. Have you ever been in that situation where somebody says, well, I'd like, this happened to me, I'd like your opinion, and you give it, and then their answer to you is yes, but. Can you see that the moment they say yes, but, they are trying to change your understanding of the situation? Now, it's a red flag. It may be that you need that extra information, or it may be them trying to justify their position. Does that make sense? So when I'm listening to people and they say yes, but, then I listen really carefully for that one, because I want to know, are they adding valid information or are they trying to manipulate the outcome? Okay, let me see what Charlotte says. The example I left on the survey was a drama moment where I got attacked by another person. She was hiding behind a screen. She disrespected me big time, and I just deleted her from connecting with me. When you say she was hiding behind a screen, do we mean a computer screen or do we mean a physical screen? That's part of the discussion today, Charlotte, is trolls, all right? Because in today's day and age, we do know that because people are hiding behind the computer screens, they are much more liberal, if you like, with their comments. Look what happened. I put up a perfectly beautiful blog about Grover's phobia of shiny floors. And what happened was some people responded, and poor Marnie got really quite upset and said she didn't want to put herself or Grover in the vlogs anymore. Now, I understand why she reacted, but she doesn't have the thick skin that some of us have, because we've been around these comments for so long, we just ignore them. And we know the people. All right. So we know that 99.9% of those comments came from a place of love. But I understood and I told her, I respect that totally. I'm hoping that I can, make her feel good enough to go back on that eventually, but we'll see. And if she doesn't, that's okay. So Charlotte's saying, others came to me to make sure I was okay and said she had done this before, right? And it was via the computer, and she was in another province. Well, I assure you, Charlotte, if you remember way back in the beginning, Charlotte, somebody threatened my life. Somebody threatened to take me out from behind a computer screen. And I'm so glad that we live in Canada, Charlotte, because I came off the broadcast that day and I went straight to the police station and I reported it. And I said, if anything ever happens to me, I'd like you to follow up on this person. Yeah. And Charlotte is saying, we met in person once and she sadly was also in a sad mental illness state. Well, there are a lot of us that understand that. And that is part of it. Where is it drama and where is it in need of support and where is it possibly, something over which you have no control, which would be their mental state. Good stuff, Charlotte. Well done. So it's very hurtful. Hi there, Jamie. It's very hurtful, and how we control it is the important thing. Not what they do, how we control the drama. And Charlotte's saying the drama was rude disrespect. I can remember once, Charlotte, somebody saying that my nails were false. They were false nails. And I've always said to people, if these were false, would they be as uneven as they are? And would they be as badly manicured as they are? You see, or would they be as broken as they are after the move? You see, but what happened was somebody accused me of that. Yeah, Charlotte's saying she doesn't feel bad. Good girl, Charlotte. That's the important thing. All right. So when that person said to me that my nails were false, I wrote back to her and I said, I would ask you to look up the term defamation of character in Google. And if you continue to spread this incorrect story about my nails, you will be hearing from my lawyer and expect him to use that term, defamation of character. You see, in saying to people that I had false nails, she is saying that my integrity is not what it is. And, I don't like that. But I will tell you something else that I learned very early on when I was in my 20s. One of the best bits of advice, when you go through your life, you go through certain things. And I remember something happened to me and I was really upset. And I went to, I used to be part of a boys club, if you can believe this. Now, these guys used to get together and they invited me because at the time I was about the only female at that level of management. And, it was so funny. They allowed me into the boys club. And so I went to the boys club and I said that one of the guys there was a, big time lawyer. And I said, this person really pissed me off. And, I want him to stop saying these things about me on principle. And I remember this lawyer looking at me and going, oh, yeah. And I said, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. He said, the good news is whenever you want to sue somebody on principle, the lawyers are going to make a lot of money. There is no guarantee you're going to win, but we lawyers will. So bring it on. And I said, so you're telling me don't? And he said, absolutely. I'm telling you, don't. If it's a matter of principle, unless you happen to be a multimillionaire, don't. I went, thank you for that advice. But could I have come back with yes, but? You see, if I'd come back with yes, but, then I'm trying to change the narrative. Make sense? All right, so the triangle, let's talk about that. Charlotte, I know that you know a lot about this from the work that you have done. So we're going to talk in pretty easy terms here if we can. You've got the victim. That's the person telling you the story. All right. Then you have got two other possibilities, a rescuer. The other one is the persecutor. So what I want to talk about is this ends up being a triangle. So those are all big fancy words. Let me give you an example because it is easier. For those of you who don't know Jodie, hi Linda from the UK. For those of you who don't know Jodie, she's our admin. So let's say Jodie says to me, because we talk every day, Sal, you'll never guess what happened to me today. All right. So now I'm going to be interested in terms of support, right? Because I will want to hear so that I can support Jodie, who isn't at this moment a victim. But if Jodie says to me, it's about Lauren, can you all see we have now formed a triangle? Does that make sense to people? Jodie is now in here. Now, if she says to me, Sal, I just need to vent. And she goes, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm done. That is not drama. That is something just happened and I need to release it. There's a whole lot of difference. All right? A whole lot of difference between being a victim and being somebody who is just espousing, trying to release some sort of emotion. Big difference. But do you see that as soon as you bring a third person in, you've created the triangle, and the triangle happens all the time? How many of you have had this happen where somebody will say to you, about somebody you both know, all right? So let's call this person Jeannie. You're seeing as Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie, good to see you from Maine. So let's say that this person, and we'll call this person Jody for now because I'm using her as an example. If Jody says to me now, why is Jeannie acting that way? Can you see that that is now, again, it is now a triangle, even though Jeannie isn't here. Does this make sense? And the way you stop the drama in that is very easy, if you want to. What you do is say, I have no idea why Jeannie is doing that. You may want to ask her. In other words, what you're doing is taking yourself out of the triangle and asking Jody to talk directly to Jeannie. You just collapse the triangle. I hope this helps. But if Jody then says, yes, but we know she's trying to establish her position. Does that make sense? I hope so. And you will find it happens all the time in different ways. Okay. So basically what we're talking about is drama happens when two people bring in a third to justify their behavior or the yes, but situation, right? Now, as somebody who is the rescuer position, you get to say whether you want to be part of this game or not. That is the important thing to remember. You control the game. If you divert away and tell them to talk to them directly, you understand the triangle collapses and that you're just telling them to grow up, act like an adult and ask her yourself. Or if they're literally asking for your opinion, then give it. But how many of you have noticed this one? You give your opinion and the next thing is you're into a 3-hour justification for why that can't happen. Anybody had that problem? Where somebody is so stuck on their position that they spend hours and hours justifying it, right? And I'm going to give you in a minute a really good way to get out of that. All right. Another example I wanted to give you was, how do you like this one where you're discussing something with somebody and they say, yes, but I discussed this with my husband and he also agrees that you're wrong. What just happened? Can you see it can you see it that as soon as they mention the husband also agrees, that's a triangle. 2 against 1. And you know what I've got an answer for that. You know, I must admit, when somebody says that to me, in the days when I had Bean, and I said, that's really interesting because I discussed it with Bean and he agreed with me. Yeah, but my husband's a lawyer. Well, hello, Bean's my best friend. So I just want to tell you that whenever you hear that, it's a manipulation. My husband or, the lawyer also agrees with me. All right. And I will use, funny enough, I was talking to the birds and the bees this morning, and I was discussing this thing, and they agreed with me. Neither of us, it's okay to have a different opinion, people. All right. And it's okay. Now, something happened to me this week where I was on a telephone call. And in order to justify their position, the person on the call used a label on me. And how many of you know I don't do labels very well? And if you want to know that when I heard the label, what do I know? I got triggered. That is the next T. And triangles, triggers, and yes buts, right? So how about the triggers? How many of you have had that happen where you're on a telephone call or something, and suddenly they say something that triggers you? Now you get triggered because you've got history with that word, right? And so what happened was when I heard the word, I said, all right, so now you've just started labeling me, and I'm going to need to get off this conversation because I don't do labels very well. So thank you. I'll be in touch, and goodbye. And I put the phone down. Do you see that I didn't want any more labels? I didn't want any more drama. I just wanted to deal with some facts. His editorializing of the situation is his business, not mine. Can you see that I controlled the drama? By the way, he made a really big mistake because he then left me a voicemail. He tried to call me and I didn't pick up. He left me a voicemail that said things like, business people don't cut and run, and in the real world, da 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 da. So, again, think what he's saying. A, that I'm not a business person, and B, I don't live in the real world, and I just literally had to smile because what he didn't know was the moment I put the phone down, I wrote an email to explain my position factually, very short and sweet, and gave him my counter to what he was saying in literally 2 paragraphs. And it was sent before his message from hell. And calling me all sorts of names. And, I just went, no, I'm not playing this game. And he phoned me. Do you think the next time he phoned me, he was more respectful and more careful with his wording? Because what did he know I was going to do if he started labeling me again? So do you understand? We control the drama. I don't care whether it's your best friend, a business person, what it is, you get to control your own drama in your life. And if you are saying, oh, I've got so much drama in my life, da, 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 it's because you allow it to happen. And you are not setting the boundaries that control it. I hope this is making some sense to you. So the next time you have a friend talking about another friend and you go, okay, what help can I give you? All right. Be aware that that's all you're there for, is to give some options. Do not give opinions, give options. All right, Jeannie is saying, many times it's happened to me. Then I stopped giving my opinion because it seems hopeless that the person will want to change. Not in all cases, Jeannie. That again is a broad brush against the whole world. Some people genuinely want to know, did they cover all the bases? I'm going to give you an example where I did that this week, where I actually phoned somebody. I actually texted them and asked for their opinion on something, and I got it. Right? All right, so Charlotte's saying that in her situation, she was cut off before she could give options, which means they don't want to hear. All right, that's fine. That tells you a lot, Charlotte. Okay. Right. And Jodie's saying, I like that example. So you didn't engage the drama, you set the boundary and didn't allow the conversation to devolve into something extremely negative. Yeah, because I knew I was triggered. So I will overreact to a lot of things if I'm in a triggered state. And I told him that. So I think that if you can see that you do control it. So here are the questions. How do you stop getting sucked in to the drama? Do any of you have any ways that you use that stops you getting sucked in? And at what point in the conversation do you start setting those boundaries? Right? So what I do is I say to myself, is what I'm hearing any of my business? Now, sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And if it really isn't any of my business, I will probably throw out a couple of options and then get out of the way. You see, it's their life, their choice, how they live it. And I can throw in a couple of options for them, but I don't have to get all involved in the drama of it, right? People ask me that all the time. Sal, how can you possibly deal with all these people writing to you with these horror stories? I remember Judy once reading an email that I got, and she was in tears. I just happened to have an email out, and she said, do you get a lot? And I said, well, normally it's things like this. And she read it, and she burst into tears. She said, I don't know how you do that. And I said, I do it because I don't get sucked in. I read it for facts. I read it for information, and then I give options based on the information. I'm going to give you something else that I do in a minute. Charlotte says, start as soon as possible to set the boundaries, and a big part is don't waver on what you said. Oh, and that's what you're going to hear in a second, Charlotte. Good stuff, right? Linda says, years ago, you told your viewers, that's me, to stick to why we rang up for any issue and control things, i.e., if I don't get my answer, I'll stick until I do. Yeah, this is called a quack, Linda. I'm amazed you remember that, right? If I ask somebody a straight question and they duck it, you know what I mean? They go around it, but they don't answer the question. I go quack, quack, quack. They go, what? And I'm going, I hear a quack. What's a quack? When you duck a question, that is a quack. Now then, the question was, do 1 and 1 equal 2? And then they go, quack, quack, quack. Now you can choose not to answer, that's your right. But don't pretend to answer and not. How many of you watch it happen all the time on the news? And, politicians, right? They get asked a straight question on this and they go over here somewhere because they don't want to answer this, but they want to get this bit of information out. You see it happen all the time. So the question is this any of my business? And if not, why am I involving myself? All right. Because if you allow yourself to be involved in the triangles, then, you deserve it. Right? Because you allowed yourself to become part of the triangle. And by the way, can you disconnect? If you accidentally did it, you can disconnect. Linda saying, OMG. So I answer all situations with, and Sal would do or say. And then she calls them Salisms, right? Right, exactly. And Jeannie's saying, I stay out of the drama by not engaging. Yeah, that's the whole trick. If you don't get involved in the triangle, you don't have the drama. All right. Jeannie's saying that she's got a daughter who wants to lash out or act out. That means drama, right? And so they're entitled to do what they want to do in their life. That's their right. Right? You just don't have to be party to it. So here's the other thing. If you tell somebody what to do, you do know that 9 times out of 10 comes back to haunt you. All right. If you hear a situation and you say, well, you need to do A, B, and C, then, and if they do, and it goes wrong, you are to blame. So you will have noticed probably when I answer people, I try to give a couple of options and let them choose what works for them or not. All right. Because I know that I don't know the right answer for them. They need to live their life. I've had people say to me, but Sal, which is the right one? I go, oh, I wish I knew. If I knew the right answer to things, you know how much money I'd be worth. That's so cute. Linda's saying, and Nicholas is her son, says, and what would Auntie Sal say? If I know. So give options, not solutions. The other person needs to choose. It is their life. And they will try to suck you into making that decision for them. And I stay really solid on that. Hey, you asked for my some options. I gave you some. I can't tell you how to live your life, sweetie. I'd love to be able to be that smart, but you need to do it. But what if I pick the wrong one? We all do, and we live with it. You know, it's a learning moment. If you pick the wrong one, you'll learn. Don't worry about it. Not the end of your world. Do you think that I was terrified to make the wrong decisions about buying this house or selling my other house or what? Of course. What if it's your parents? What if it is? I think when it's your parents, Charlotte, you just need to have a broader back, you know, and which is listen but don't react. Or rewatch A Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. Right? See that movie and watch how Tom Hanks, as Mr. Rogers, handled situations about which he totally disagreed. Right? Because when it was something he didn't agree with, he would smile and say, that is an interesting perspective. Or, interesting, I'll give that some thought. You see, can you see this? Jeannie's saying, even if it's your parents, you stay in charge. As long as you're an adult. If you're still a child, you do what they tell you. But if you are an adult, you go, gosh, thanks for your opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You just thank them for it. And if 2 weeks later, your parent says, but I told you 2 weeks ago to do A, B, and C, and you didn't, you go, right, that's right. I really didn't, did I? Now then, I'm going to tell you a story about Benji. He accidentally gave me the greatest example to help you guys. And he gave it to me this week. And by the way, he's just told me that he's coming up to visit me on Sunday. So that's awesome. But what happened was I was having a problem with that guy on the telephone, you know, using the labels and everything. But what I wanted to make sure is that I was being rational. Who's the most rational person I know? You know, the most black and white thinker that I know is Benji. You know, he's capable of, you know, laser focus, no emotion attached to it. Just if these are the facts, then this is the answer. And I love running things by him because of that. So I sent him a text, and I never know which country he's in or, you know, what the time is where he is or whatever. So what I do is I normally text and go, are you available for a text? I know that 9 times out of 10, he's not going to be available to chat, but maybe he can text. You know, he's texted me from cinemas and shows and, you know, goodness knows what else. So I just go, are you available for a quick text? And he about an hour later, he went, yes, but I picked it up an hour after that. So never mind, we're playing this text tag thing. Anyway, so then I very quickly, and by the way, if you haven't read Men Are From Mars and Women from Venus, remember if you are talking to somebody who thinks clinically, you know, has focus, most men cannot handle a lot of drama. And we give them so much drama that they really overwhelm, because they just go, tell me what the problem is and I'll fix it. It's just that simple. And we go, and then she said, and they're going, yeah, but what do you need me to fix? Right? That's what they're thinking. And we never get to that. So they just cut off. Okay. So anyway, I said to Benji, you would have been very proud of me. I went, 3 facts, this. What do you think I should do? Now, am I asking for Benji's opinion? Right? Can you see that in what do you think I should do? And if he gives it to me, do I have to do it? No, I'm asking for his input. I want to make sure that I've covered the bases. So he said, give me a while to think about that. Understandable. No problem. And then he said, are you available at 5:30 for my response? And I said, yep, because I knew I'd be doing some editing then. So I said, yes. So at 5:30, listen to this, people, I got a Facebook voice message which said, Sal, you have 2 options. You either do da 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 da, or you do da 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 da. Do you see how clever that was? What Benji cut out was any chance of yes, but. He just gave his opinion. I burst out laughing, quite honestly. I first of all, I read it and I went, yeah, but, and I went, yeah, but, and I just burst out laughing and I went, I asked for his opinion and he gave it. Now, the funny thing was, he must have rethought it, because about half an hour later, he contacted me and said, did you need to discuss this more? And I texted back and said, no, I asked for your input. I got it. Thank you. It felt so good. You see, it's still my decision. And by the way, the 2 things he told me, I already had covered. So it was just like, okay, I got exactly what I needed. Right. So Jeannie's saying, she'll say something like, I can see that things are deteriorating, so I'm finishing the conversation. Yeah. That is a control thing. I want to tell you that I've got one friend of mine who drives me insane with the words, I don't know why, but they trigger me, I'll let you go. He's like, you understand what he means is, I want to go, but I'm going to do it that I'm going to let you go. And I don't know why that really upsets me, but it does. And so every now and then I will try and get it in there before he does. Oh, I know that any minute now you're going to tell me that you're going to let me go. So, because I can hear it in the voice tone. You can hear when somebody starts wavering on the attention span. And do any of you have anybody that does things like that? So I think you have the right, Jeannie, to say, I can hear this is getting a little heated now, and I prefer not to have that conversation. I say that all the time. I do it with people where I'm getting triggered, and I say, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm getting triggered, and I choose not to have this discussion while I'm triggered. So I'm going to need to call a break on this, and I'll get back to you in about 48 hours when I've settled down a bit. No, I want to fix it now. And I go, yeah, that's what you want. Doesn't mean I need to agree to it. Linda said, you taught me to be honest, stay in charge of reactions, be in charge. Can't tell you how much that means. Without which I would not be here to chat. And then she said, I mean that so much. Thank you, Sam. Linda, I flapped my lips. You did the work. You see, you heard it and you reacted on it and you applied it. I think you are the one that gets full credit for this. As I said, I just told you what I know. And as I said to somebody the other day, I have a big mouth and opinions, and they aren't all right. I am the first person to say that. So here are some of the things that I learned about this. I should not have done what I just did. That's what I learned about this. Stop doing that to me. Hang on a second. Like I put. All right, so hang on a sec. Now, one of the things that I do, if I think I'm about to get sucked into something, or if I can hear somebody's got what I call a 3-day story that they want to tell me, I will literally, after about 5 minutes, say, this is obviously a huge topic, and I am not going to be able to keep focused long enough to give you the benefit of my input. So here's what I would ask you to do. Could you write it to me so I can read it in my own time without any distractions and think about it and give you some input? By the way, number one, I do it because it's true. I find that if somebody writes to me, I can scan it and drop out, be it editorializing and everything else, and I can sort of scan it for the facts. And then it makes it easier for me to give an opinion. One of the other things that I've noticed is that of all the people I say, why don't you write that to me so I can look at it? Very few do. So if very few people bother to write it, you know what that means. They want approval of their situation. They don't want my feedback. Does that make sense? So that's why I find it a very useful tool, which is, hey, I can hear this as a long story. I don't have time to listen to it now, or whatever you want to say, but send me the email. Now, the other thing I find about getting people to send me that email is when they type it, they start answering their own questions. I cannot tell you how many times people have sent me the email and they've said, you know something, Sal, as I write this, I already know the answer. But thank you so much for getting me to write it. You see, it's part of the process because your mind will be talking to you as you're typing. The other thing is I find that when people type the story, they are less volatile. Right, they're less likely to use all the bad language and you know, because it's written. So state your feelings, as Linda said, honestly and without any abuse or intimidation. It's a really important thing to do. Okay? The other thing is, don't be surprised that others will act in their own interests. True? Whatever opinions you give to people, the person to whom you've given the options will act in what they believe is the right thing for them, regardless whether your input is better for them. You see, they're probably not at that level of thinking, and therefore they will take what works best for them, which may create more drama for them, but that's how people learn. And I am a great believer, people need to learn their own lessons, right? I do what I can to avoid them. All right, so Charlotte saying that was my issue, I wasn't heard. You don't need to be, quite honestly, Charlotte. When you're dealing with somebody like that, and one of the first lessons that Benji taught me about YouTube, don't get involved in the haters. He taught me that, I would think, in the first month, because, you know, I got some pretty damning haters on when I started. And he said to me, just ignore them. And I'm going, but it's so unfair. And just ignore them. Don't let them in. I actually do better now, Charlotte. I'll take somebody who's really quite rude to me, and I go, thank you so much for taking the time to let me know that. And one person I have to say, one person wrote back to me and said, wow, what a great way to reply to a hater. I respect you for that. And also remember, not all haters are nasty people. And the reason I say that is, remember Ozzy? When I first met Ozzy, he was so rude to me, it wasn't even funny. But I hung in there until I found out what he was made of. And guess what? One of the best decisions of my life. He still makes me smile to this day. So the other thing is, listen to the other person's side, right? Take out the editorializing of stuff, but just listen to their side of the story, right? And make sure they know that you heard their side of the story. Yeah, I hear you, that da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Thank you for letting me know that. You're not saying you agree. You're not saying that you agree. What you're saying is you heard what that person had to say. And we all want to be heard. Is that not true? The other thing is, understand. Okay, good night, Linda. It's off to movie night. It's another Buster Keaton. He really likes. Nick says hi, and hi back to Nicholas. Hi, Nicholas. Big hugs, honey. Enjoy your movie. So the other thing is, understand what you expect, state it, and ask what the other person expects. So, I'm in this discussion with this one business person, and he's saying this, and I go, okay, I hear you on that. However, I think this because of this, this, and this. And now, slowly we're walking our way towards somewhere where we're both going to agree. So it's okay for me not to agree with him. Even if he says things like, well, in the real world, I just go, I wanted to say in the real world, or no, any business person would know, well, hello, I think I've been in business a bit higher up the chain than he has, but never mind. I've actually stopped myself from justifying it. I don't need to justify it. I just need to do the right things to stop the drama. Do you understand that? I could justify how much business knowledge I have. I think I'll let him find that out by accident. Now then, here's a very important one. Avoid seeing the efforts of others to cope as an attack towards you. Now, I thought about that one, and I thought, when I heard that wording that triggered me, I took that wording on. That was my bad. And that's why I needed to get out of that situation, because I would react to the bad, right? It's my responsibility. So that's why I had to state the fact, I'm sorry, but I'm hearing labels. I don't do labels well, so I need to stop this conversation. I need to stop this telephone call. I continue this conversation, but I did it in writing via email. So I realized that that was my responsibility to control it, but also that I got triggered by it, which means I reacted to what they said. That's my stuff. So the next one is, don't blame others for your feelings or behavior. Now that happens a lot, all right? That happens a lot. How many times have you had a friend write to you or talk to you on the phone or text you and say, well, they said X, Y, and Z, and da-da-da-da, and da-da-da. And what they're doing is they are absolutely blaming another person for the way that they feel. And the reason I did this bad thing was because of what they did. That's justification of bad. I caught Jody on one this week. Jody was busy telling me something, and I thought she was trying to control a situation for an adult. And Jody knows exactly what it was. And I just, to me, it was like, I don't think Jody can see that she's trying to control this. And she's talking about an adult. All right. And an adult needs to control themselves. It's not for you to play mother. That's, we do that too much to people. Hi, Jonas. Great to see you again. Everything is a choice. Yes, Charlotte. And when you get that, when you understand that we choose how to think, how to react, how to behave, when we get that in spades, then we will live happier lives. Okay? So, yeah. And you know something, Charlotte? I'm certain that every time you actually go, I have a choice here, that you feel better because you are in control. You can see that you have control of how you react. Now, we can blame them. The reason I lost my temper is not because I don't have good anger management. The reason I lost my temper is because what Charlotte said. No, the reason I lost my temper is because I didn't control it. Here we go. Jody's going, yep, I was trying to control, regardless that I thought it was for the right reasons. I was still controlling. And Jody, I tried to sort of show you that red flag as nicely as I could without using that word too much. All right, so Jeannie's saying, I have not heard from my daughter in over a month, but this is better than being blasted and belittled. Yeah, now you want to hear a really strange thing, Jeannie, which is, I think you know that over the years I've had some issues with my sister. And the most peculiar thing has happened in the last 6 months. My sister has reached out. My sister has done some really nice things. She sent me, she talked to me about the stress of moving, and she sent me a card to welcome me to my new home. And some of you might have seen the beautiful flowers she sent me. So you go, if you wait it out, Jeannie, and you stay strong on the behavior that you will accept, eventually it may change. It may not, but eventually it may. And I don't think I'm capable of changing my sister because that's the work she has to do. And quite honestly, I don't think she will. But I think she realizes when she tries to control me, it's not going to work. And you know who's done a really great job on that? Big brother Jeff. And I got a feeling he actually gave her a little bit of a lesson in Sal control, and said, if you try and control Sal, she's not a 5-year-old, and she objects strongly to being controlled. So therefore, don't try and control her, because she may be your baby sister, but she's not stupid, right? If she wants your advice, she'll ask for it, which I do. I know she loves to give advice, so guess what? I make a point of asking for some every now and then because I know she'll feel good. And she's got some good advice. So Jody's saying, sometimes I need a 2x4 too. Thank you, Sal. You wrap them in bubble wrap for me. I want to tell you, that day I was going, how do I word this that she gets it without my having to hit her with the 2x4 too hard? Because I knew you hadn't been well. But on the other hand, really? Is that what you're doing? Have you learned nothing? And Jody, when I think about the wonderful work you have done with me, look at the changes I have made because of the information that you gave me. Think about that. I have lost 15 pounds since January the 1st because of information that you have shared with me. But remember, I wanted to lose the weight, right? And remember, Benji came up with the perfect mantra for me. And I love him to bits. And I said to him this week, I wrote to him and I said, I wonder sometimes if you understand how simply brilliant you are. And he wrote back and went, what? And I went, you are brilliant in very simple bites. You know, that you can give a absolutely spot on answer to people this long. That is brilliant. And I want to encourage him to do more work with people, helping people, because his nuggets of information are incredible, because he does not get caught up with the drama. And if you remember when I was there just after Christmas, whenever I went down there, and I said, I don't know what happened. I just put on another 10 pounds suddenly, and I need to lose this weight. And you remember he just looks at me and said, it's really easy, Sal, really simple. Eat good food, good for you food, you know, clean food, healthy food. Eat good food and do more exercise. You know, you don't need a fancy diet. What you need to do is eat better and get more exercise. Oh, hi, Tanika. Good to see you there, honey. She said, this is such an awesome platform. Thanks, Mama Sal. Well, thank everybody in the room, because I cannot do this on my own. All right. I do it because you guys all feed me the topics, and then, you know, we get to discuss them. So thank you for your thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's what you call a little Fitbit nugget of information, right? You remember Jody gave me the one, if it's sweet, eat meat. Now, she didn't actually say those words, but it's what my brain took in when Jody was talking to me about how to balance my blood sugar. And I remember thinking, okay, so that means if it's sweet, eat meat. I'll always credit Jody for it, because what she said created that nugget in my head. So guess what? Yesterday, day before yesterday or something, I had Chinese food, remember? Last week, I had Chinese food, and then I had it again the next night because I had leftovers. And I just went, I know how to fix this. I just got to eat some protein before I go to bed. Now, yesterday, I had caramel corn and 2 or 3 handfuls of trail mix. Big no-nos in my weight loss thing. And I forgot to take the cheese before I went to bed. And my blood sugar went up this morning. And I went, of course it did. If it's sweet, eat meat. You didn't eat the meat. But, you know, I was justifying it, but I had the nuts. And I went, yeah, but how many? 1 or 2 would have been fine, you know, 3 handfuls, maybe not so much. And by the way, there were things in with the nuts, so let's see what they had in there. There's sultanas, that's sweet, looks like raisins. Yeah, you see, it had sweet in it. So, all right. So do you understand that the way we take the drama out of our lives is we don't let it in? And so I want you to think for a moment. You don't have to answer it, but if any of you have drama going on and you want some help with it, this would be a good time to tell me. But on the other hand, think about who it is that you have in your life that causes drama. Who do you have in your life that always asks for advice, and as soon as you give it, they go, yes, but. You know, what I do is I'd let them know that truth. I'd say, you know something, Jane? I've noticed that every time you ask me for advice, the very first thing you say is, yes, but. Which means that you want to manipulate my answer. The truth is, you asked for my opinion, and I have given it. Yes, but there you go again, Jane. Yes, but you asked for my opinion or my input, and I gave it to you. Yeah, but another yes, but. You see, the way that you get them to see what they're doing is to call it. Can you see that if you say stay solid on the yes buts? By the way, do I do yes but? You bet I do. But I'm more aware of them now. And so when I had that voice call from Benji, and I'm going, what the? He just, and I went, yeah, but, and I went, oh, brilliant, brilliant. There is no way he gets caught up in any of the yes buts because he recorded the message. And I'm going, how brilliant is that? But then later, he must have rethought it because he got, do you need to talk about this? I went, no. I was so proud of myself. No, I don't need to talk about it. I asked for your opinion and I got it. Thank you. How adult was that? And now, guess what? He's coming to visit me. That worked. Not quite sure how, but it worked. Got to sip my coffee. Got to sip my cold coffee. All right, so let me now just do some other things. I really wanted, oh, Jody, did you have quotes on my presentation? For those of you who don't know, Jody is awesome at helping me with quotes on things. And I don't know if she added some onto this, and if so, I need to go back there. I didn't check that before I closed the, now let me go back and find out. That's the easiest way, isn't it? Let's go right down to the end here, wherever I was. I don't think we've got any birthdays this week, by the way, but what I do know is that if you didn't see it, okay, thank you, Jody. If you didn't see it, Nana did go to the specialist and he says that she does need the operation, which is what we thought. But it'll, you know, because it's the Canadian system, it'll take a year before she has that operation. All right, so now I found some quotes that I thought you might enjoy on how to avoid drama, okay? Doug Cooper said, our best decisions are often what we choose not to get involved in. You know, one of the things that I have to tell you that if you think about it, if ever you need a lawyer, I'd like to give you a piece of advice. The cheapest way to use a lawyer is to write to them and give them facts, not editorializing. These are the facts. What do you recommend I do? Please email it back to me. If you think about it, if you sit in front of a lawyer and telling them a story about what happened to you, how many hours of chat do they listen to that they get to charge for that have nothing to do with the facts? And I learned that lesson a long time ago. If I need a lawyer's opinion on something, I must not go and sit in front of them because I'm a talker. What I need to give them is the facts and let them reply with their advice. The difference probably is about $500, quite honestly, because not too many lawyers will charge you an arm and a leg and 3 bodies for an opinion. They will charge you, but they won't charge you nearly as much as if you're sitting in front of them. And they get to choose when to answer you. I like this one. Drama doesn't just walk into your life. You either create it, invite it, or you associate with people who love to bring it into your life. True? True? You either create it, invite it, or you associate with people who love to bring it into your life. I assure you, I've had more than 1 or 2 viewers who have been drama queens. In other words, they don't want to do anything to help themselves, but they do want to keep complaining about it. right? And what I do is I keep asking them to write, and I keep asking them what have they done about it, because really, if all they want to do is complain about it, I'm the wrong person. I want to help people. I don't want to enable people. There is a difference. Does anybody not know what it means to enable somebody? It is to help them continue to wallow in their stuff. All right. And presume they're not adult enough to make their own decisions. Jody. Treat them like a 5-year-old. That's enabling somebody. So to me, I don't want to get into that if I can help it. Now, I don't mind telling you that every now and then, and Lauren will be the first person to tell this story if she were here. But a year and a half ago, whenever it was, that Lauren was busy with the situation that she needed to get to hospital on, as far as I was concerned, and she was just ignoring it, saying it'll go away, it'll go away. And I was seeing pictures of this, and I'm going, that is dangerous. What's going on there looks dangerous to me. And I hit her with a 2x4, and at the end of it, I said, something, Lauren, if you want to die, that's your right. But if you want to live, you may want to get to a doctor in a hurry. Okay. Jonas is saying problems may be inevitable, but the meaning of each problem is not. We get to control what our problems mean based on how we choose to think about them, the standard by which we choose to measure them. When we guide each other towards redemption, that is the best of humanity. Joachim Felix said that. Yes, the whole thing is that I think there's a whole lot of difference between enabling somebody and supporting them. Okay? The difference is when we support them in what it is they want to do. I will not support people trying to manipulate other people. Will I, Jody? That to me, I won't do. But I will support you in what you're trying to do for yourself. So to me, when I could see what the fear that obviously Lauren had about going to the hospital could kill her, I told her as bluntly as I could what I thought about that childish behavior and told her to grow up and get to a hospital. All right? But it's your choice. If you want to die, carry on playing this game. And when she went to the hospital, they said, 24 hours more, we would have probably lost you. So my point is, there is a difference between support and drama. Do you understand that Lauren needed to grow up? She wanted to keep complaining about the problem, but not do anything about it. And by the way, the amazing things that Lauren has done this year after she realized she needed to grow up. And by the way, we're so excited for her. On Monday, she starts university. Isn't that awesome? We're so happy for her. Right. All right, so listen to this one. A real woman avoids drama. She knows her time is precious and she's not wasting it on unimportant things. How many of you know that time is precious? Right? How many of you were surprised that at the busiest time possible for me, I started doing the vlogs again? How many of you were just like, how does she do that, right? You see, I wanted to. It was helping me. I was really selfish. It was helping me to tell you guys what was going on. It was helping me to show you the chaos. It was helping me to make me sit down and not do. Just to go and edit was a relaxation for me. And I am hoping that I've got back into the routine now. Yeah, look, Jody's saying Lauren is a totally different person. And I mean that as an absolute compliment. Yes, Jody, I agree with you. I mean, I listened to her today and I see so many adult behaviors going on where she's catching herself. All right, I like this one. Don't lose your peace of mind while trying to soothe somebody else's. Don't let yourself be dragged into another person's despair. Whenever other people's emotions begin to flare, breathe and be mindful. You cannot calm a person if you are agitated as well. How many of you would like me to read that one again? If so, let me know. If not, I'm carrying on. So, how we deal with our life is totally our choice, right? If we turn everything into drama, then we will have drama. Okay. I didn't go on, I moved the screen, but I didn't carry on reading. Here you go. Don't lose your peace of mind while trying to soothe somebody else's. Jody, if I can give you an example, I made the comment about the control thing, but then I let it go. All right? I didn't lose my peace of mind. What you choose to do in your life is your business. I can give you the input, even though you didn't ask for it at that time. I can give you the input and run because it is your choice what you do. I also know you well enough to know that you are smart enough to go, why is Sal saying this way? I'm pretty sure you went, huh? And then you went, oh, yeah. So don't lose your peace of mind, all right? I wasn't going to lose my peace of mind while trying to soothe somebody else's. Do not let yourself be dragged into another person's despair. Jody, you were despairing about not being able to control something. That was the issue. You were trying to control something. Duh. Right? So I would not let myself get dragged into that because I know that's drama. Whenever another person's emotions begin to flare, breathe and be mindful. Remember, ask yourself the question, do I need to be involved in this? And the answer is no. And Jody's saying, yeah, I couldn't see the forest for the trees that day. Oh, I know. And I was chuckling. I have to say, Jody, it was definitely a mission accomplished because I was sitting there going, she has no idea what she's doing right now. How do I point her in that direction? You cannot calm a person if you are agitated as well, right? And that's all Zen thinking, by the way. And I love Zen thinking. If you bring nothing but drama to the table, don't be surprised if everybody else gets up and leaves. How many of you know people that applies to? That you need, you need to send them that quote. All right. You've got people in your life right now, I know, that need that quote. Okay. If you bring nothing but drama to the table, don't be surprised if everybody gets up and leaves. So true. So true. If you noticed all the time, oh, Jonas, that's why we love you. Jonas just said, I admit that in the past, that's been me. Jonas, big hug. That is growth. When you can see that you were in that place and you got the results of it. How many people do you have in your life that go, well, I haven't got any friends and nobody comes to visit me? And, the answer is, have you been out of the house? No, well, I don't like going out of the house. Well, then don't be surprised if you don't have any friends. Yeah, Tanika's saying she has people in her life and she's good at leaving the table. Nice one. All right, so you understand that we've got people in our lives that need that quote. And Jody, if you could remind me, I'd appreciate it. I think that we need to put that up because I think there are a lot of viewers that aren't necessarily at the broadcast that might want to know that. Real people avoid drama. They know their time is too precious and they choose not to waste it on unimportant people. I don't think people are unimportant. I've got to say that I disagree with it. I think everybody is traveling at their own speed. I've always said that. You know, I need to respect that Tanika is traveling at one mindset, that Charlotte is in a totally different mindset. Boy, and is she in a different mindset than she was 7 years ago. Jody is in another mindset. And Jonas, and so you go through everybody and you go, everybody's traveling their own journey and you're all at different, and I'm traveling mine at a different level. And so therefore, and Benji travels his at lightning speed at a totally different level. And so what I look at is I cannot push you to go faster than you're ready to go, nor do I want to, because you may miss out on some incredibly important lessons along the way. You see, I think life is a series of lessons. That's really what I think it's about. And our job, if ever you say, well, I don't know what my job in life is or my goal is, my mission, whatever, you go, yeah, maybe it's to learn the lessons every day. Maybe it's to learn to laugh, at everything. Maybe it's learn to breathe and relax. And how about this one? I refuse to entertain negativity. Life is too big and time is too short to get caught up in empty drama. Remember, Linda from the UK said, you can come home and complain, but only for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, you have to stop. If you want to come home from work and complain about it, you got 10 minutes. After that, over. If your children want to have a little hissy fit, 10 minutes, here's what you get. Have your hissy fit, say whatever you want to say, but after that, it's over. And by the way, if you want to get a child's attention really quickly, disconnect the internet after 10 minutes. And you go, why are you doing that? Well, because, you're still carrying on. I'll reconnect it when you get a grip. Jonas is saying we're all on different streams, but trying to get into the same pond. Isn't that beautiful? I agree with you. We're all part of this big pond and we're all coming in from different tributaries into the pond. And there's also, I heard it described once, Jonas, that this is the collective consciousness. Wasn't it Keyes that said that? This is the collective consciousness. And therefore we are all connected through the pond. And the thing is that each of us is traveling at our own speed. Yeah, Tanika said that's what makes each of our journeys beautiful and interesting. Yeah. Can you imagine the switchover? If you think about it, I met Benji and was his mentor. And now today, guess what? I use him as mine. Now, does that take a shift of mentality? Could I say, well, hang on a second, I'm the mentor? I go, no, you know something? There are things that I still mentor him on, but he's smart as a wagon load of monkeys. And there are certain things that I get emotionally involved in that he can clear path straight through it for me. Right. Oh, Tanika saying, that's funny. I take the phone. My daughter hates that. Yeah. This is like, you can get their attention. They're so tuned in by technology today. It's the fastest way to get their attention. I think the best thing that my local provider did is you can control when the service is available. In other words, you can program your internet provider to stop providing the internet during dinner time. I don't want it available between 7 and 9. You can do that. Or between 5 and 7, because they're meant to be doing homework. Whatever it is, you can do that. And I think that is to my mind, very adult behavior, that we can control it. How many of you today watch more things on your computers than you do on your television? Actually, now they realize that that happened, and I knew it would happen. I said it 5 years ago that we'd spend more time watching on our computers than we will do. Have you noticed now that they're changing the televisions to show you what you normally see on your computer? Any of you see that switch? Like no, they'll never watch more on the computer than on the television set. Oh, yes, they will. And when they saw that happening, they said, then we have to supply it on television in order to keep selling televisions. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. You see, Charlotte, the television manufacturers realized they were going to lose the whole market if they didn't do something to keep up with the way that we as consumers want to see. And the reason I watch stuff on my computer, is because I can see it when I want to, not when they think I should be watching it. Right? To me, this is like when I want to watch it is the time I want to watch it. Hans F. Hansen said this. Listen up, people. He said, people inspire you or they drain you. Pick them wisely. People inspire you or they drain you. Pick them wisely. And so I want you this week to be aware everywhere you go, whether, you go, I'm going to go down, after I finish the broadcast, I'm going to take my walk down to the rec center here and sit and have coffee with the ladies, of which I am one, and listen to whatever it is they want to talk about. But it's interesting because will they inspire me or will they drain me? You see, I don't think I have to have either happen if I control my mind. I can inspire them if it looks like a chance to do that, if they want that, or I can keep my mouth shut. I could practice, right? I could use it as training. And if they drain me through negativity or whatever, then, I can choose not to go. But I'm going to choose to go because so far so good. They've been quite nice to me. And I'm hoping somebody can find some red thread and a needle for me because I need to mend my red robe and I have no idea where my sewing kit is. I thought it was very easy to find, but then the packers got to it. And then the other thing is, one of the very last things I brought to the home here, one of the very, very last things was my toolkit, with my wrenches and everything else in it. And I have no idea where it is. And I'm thinking because it was one of the last things to come, it would have come in a giant cubie. And I cannot see that cubie with all that stuff in it, which means I may not find it. By the way, I had an ion cleaner for my CPAC, my Darth Vader mask, that I had when I arrived here for that month I was using it. I cannot find it anywhere. I had to order a new one. And for any of you, how many people, does anybody else here use a CPAC mask to breathe at night? Because I lost my cleaner, I actually found out that I really don't like cleaning it in the sink. I end up wet, the floor ends up wet, everything ends up wet. I've now thrown it in my washing machine with some bleach and run it through a quick cycle. It's just like, why didn't I think of this a year ago? How about this quote? People who have no life will always try to start drama in yours. Yeah, Jonas is quoting Eleanor Roosevelt, one of my favorite quotes of all time, funny enough, Jonas. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. You see, you can hear people say, well, they put me down. Well, no, not if you didn't get sucked into it. If you just went, well, it's their opinion. Yeah. They can call me, and that's one of the wonderful learnings of the being a YouTuber. You learn some pretty good skills about dealing with negative comments. And my ability to deal with negative comments has improved vastly since I have been a YouTuber, because they had to. And I keep remembering, what Benji told me. Don't buy into the haters, Sal. Right? Just don't buy into it. Let it go. All right, let me see if I can read this one. Yeah. Well, if you're staying here in the hopes of making out with Alaska, I assure you she wouldn't. If you unmoor her from the rock, that is Jake. Oh, this is a story out of from John Green. Okay. God have mercy on us all. That would be some drama indeed. And as a rule, I like to avoid drama. It's not because I want to make out with her. Hold on. He grabbed a pencil, scrawled excitedly on a piece of paper as if he just made a mathematical breakthrough, and then looked back at me and said, I just did some calculations. I've been able to determine that you're full of shit. And he was right. That took a bit of getting to, but it's good. When a toxic person can no longer control you, they will try to control how others see you. Ever had that one happen? I have. The misinformation will feel unfair, but stay above it, trusting that other people will eventually see the truth, just like you did. I cannot tell you. I remember once when I was a professional speaker, that somebody started a rumor about some behavior of mine, totally wrong. And I remember somebody came to me and said, I don't know if you know, but so-and-so is spreading a really nasty rumor about you. And I said, oh, okay. Luckily, I believe in karma. And they said, well, don't you want to do anything about it? I said, no, it's too much drama, too much energy. I don't have that energy. So if they want to carry on doing it, the good news is I've got friends. My friends know that's not true. And the other people I don't really care about. Think about that. My friends know that is not true. And what the other people think of me, I don't really care about. True? So how about this one? I've had friends say things like, I heard it on the grapevine that da-da-da-da-da. And I will say to them, well, you've known me for 20 years, so you make your own decision as to whether you want to believe that or not. I'm not going to try and convince them. It's like, you make your own decision after 20 years of knowing me and my integrity and my whatever, whether you want to believe that. And also, of 20 years of knowing that I'm the first one most of the time to admit to my mistakes. But if you want to believe it, be my guest. I'll still have them as a friend, because eventually they're going to realize they made a mistake. But, it's just like, if you want to believe that, that's your right. It's so nice when toxic people stop talking to you. It's like the trash took itself out, I've had some incredibly dramatic people stop talking to me. And it's why? Because I won't get sucked in. They go, blah, 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 and I go, oh, what have you done about it? Yeah, and what have you done about it? No, what have you done? Nothing? Well, then it's not going to change, is it? So I'm hoping that you can see that we allow the drama. We create it, we allow it, we invite it, and we don't stop it. That's why we have drama in our lives. All right, so here's Nyasha saying, Mama Sal, now that I've somehow changed my mindset, I do not really get upset for small things anymore. Every time my parents put me down, I now hear my mind say, I'm waiting for the rest of that story. I really do recommend that if you get, I think A Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood is about to be released digitally. And so if you get a chance to see that movie, either in a theater or I'm looking forward to it being digitally because I want to watch it again. I lost a lot when I went to see it because I'm hard of hearing. And I lost a lot of the nuances and I want to have my earphones on and be able to replay some of those lines because I want to tell you, I think in that movie alone was the primer or primer, depending what country you grew up in, for life. Right? If you could take what he taught in that movie, bit by bit, all the different examples that were there, you'd have a really happy life. And so to me, this is all about how much drama are you going to let in? And I want you to concentrate this week on seeing it coming. Where you're going, oh, I think I hear a sucking sound. Somebody's trying to draw me into that triangle, right? Remember what I said about that triangle? Yeah. Well, can you ask John why he's doing that? No, but you can. Why would I do your work? That's for you. Grow up. You want to know? Ask him. Yeah, Jonas is saying it's a very powerful thing when we're able to recognize whether someone is trying to look out for you with constructive criticism or simply just using you as their vessel to project their own insecurities. We had a classic example of that just last week, Jonas. Somebody called me a hoarder. And it was, I sort of chuckled and went, yeah, to some degree. But I'm an organized hoarder. And, so then it was interesting because it turned out that a lot of people reacted, but then eventually the person who had actually said it admitted that they were. So that was the projection. And it was an interesting example. All right, so Nyasha's just finished that. She said, I can now hear my mind say, well, that is your opinion. And it's now that I realize that what you'd been saying, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. Now I know their mind goes, where their mind goes, it's controlling. Yes, because you are a child to them. You are not an adult. And you remember what I said, when you start acting like an adult, they'll start treating you like one. They'll never totally treat you like an adult because you are always going to be their child. And as long as you live under their roof, they are always going to treat you like a child, not like a fully grown adult. Sorry, reality. There were times when I had to remind my mother that I actually was an adult. She'd say something to me and I'd go, you know something, Mum? When I was 5, that used to work brilliantly. I was terrified of you. Now, and my mum would just crack up laughing and go, rats. Because I used to call her on her manipulation all the time, and it was just like, God, I used to work so well, Mum, when I was 5. Don't know if you've noticed, but I'm 35 now, or, whatever it was, it doesn't work anymore because I'm an adult. Get over it. Let me make my bad decisions. I'll learn from them. It's okay. I know you don't like my choice in men. Yeah, and how much drama comes from our families, right? Tanika saying, I had to set boundaries for my mother. Yeah, we all do. I mean, I would think unless you've got an exceptional mother, you've got an exceptional mother, we all have to teach our mothers how to let go. And sometimes we need to teach the wives how not to treat their husbands as children. All right. So all these things. Yes. And Tanika saying our relationship is so much better now. You know, when they realize it, you know, sometimes it really helps Tanika. I don't know if you've tried this one. I'd go, Mum, I used to say this to her. I say, Mum, did Granny ever try that one on you? And how did it feel? She'd look at me and go, that's not fair, Sal. That's not fair. And I go, I know, but it's true. Did she try it on you? And how did it feel? And she goes, get out of here. And I go, okay. And yeah, she's saying, indeed, because Dad still tells me, why don't you grow up and stop acting like a child? Back then, I used to get upset, and now it doesn't bother me half as much. He's going to be saying it until the day he passes on, or you do. You know what I mean? It's part of his tape that he runs. Now, I can see that any minute now, Jodie's going to ask me, did I do the countdown and did I update it? No, I did not update it, Jodie. I failed you on that. Yeah, Tanika, that's a really good one. They hate that. Tanika saying, I told her she's acting like her mother. Yep. And it, you know, that's what I did. It's great. I used to go, yeah, did Granny used to do that to you? All right, Thanksgiving, people. It's just 9 months and 9 days away if you live in the States. For those of us who live in Canada, it's only 7 months and 23 days. Isn't that amazing? Easter is 1 month and 20 days away. That's pretty close. Spring. Did you see I had pictures of snowdrops and things? Spring is 27 days away. I love spring. It's because, you know, spring becomes summer. Then I'm not so keen on fall because that brings winter, but, you know, never mind. Daylight savings time is only 2 weeks away. Well, it's 16 days to be exact, but isn't that amazing? We did it. We made it through winter, except for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere where you are about to make it through summer and go into fall. Jonas is saying sometimes parents need to just take a step back and trust that their children are going to learn some of these things on their own. Coddling does not help growth. I know somebody who needs to hear that. Coddling does not help growth. When people want to do something, they will. They're adults. When they don't want to do it, they won't. They're adults. Lent is just 4 days away. When does Lent start? Monday? Shrove Tuesday. Must be. Tuesday, of course. All right, so Jonas saying, I can't wait for spring. I'm sick of cabin fever and vitamin D supplements. I take vitamin D all year now because I realized it really helped my mood. And by the way, I would actually ask that you think about the words you use, Jonas. I can't wait for spring says that you don't want to. In which case, if you keep repeating that enough, somebody's going to hear you and, you know, have a car wipe you out or something so that you can't wait for spring. Or that you're sick of cabin fever. Somebody's going to hear that and make you sick. Yeah, Shrove Tuesday. Is it called Shrove Tuesday in England, I think? It's called Fat Tuesday in some things, or Pancake Day and others. Yeah, Shrove Tuesday is what I was taught. So it's an important one. And Pancake Day is a good day any day in my house. All right, Mercury is now fully blown into retrograde, and we only have until March 3, and it'll be on its way back out of there. And the rest I forgot to update. Get over it. So, how many of you have learned something today? And if so, what? What was your aha moment on drama today? I ask because hopefully there is something that's stuck in your mind that will help you. And to me, it is what Benji did. Brilliant. I asked for his opinion and he gave it. And by the way in which he gave it, he made sure he did not hear yes, but. Now, it might not be the reason. I'll ask him on Sunday, because I will. I'll ask him on Sunday, did he do it intentionally? And if he said, no, I just was busy, then I'll go, well, it worked like a charm. All right, so Jonas is saying the Farmer's Almanac says here in Alberta we're supposed to get a snowstorm up until the end of March. I've known snow in April. So, I don't ever believe it's not going to snow until we get to May. I don't think I've seen snow in May. But April, I've seen snow. Yep, definitely. Yash is saying Lent starts on Wednesday because it's carnival here in Trinidad and Tobago. For me, Lent is a sad time, and I don't know why. That's your choice. You've got a good reason for it, Yash. It's worth trying to work out why. Is it because of the religious aspect that it was Christ's final days that makes you sad? What is it? And I really ask you to have a look at that. It's the same as I've said to people, Valentine's Day could be a sad day for me if I wanted to concentrate on the fact that it's the day my mom died. But, on Valentine's Day, I don't know if you know that, but what I do every year, just to make sure I don't do that, I go, what did my mom most like? Flowers. So guess what I start doing Valentine's Day? I start putting seedlings out. I start planting seedlings ready for my garden, and this is my butter lettuce starting up. You see, and all the time I'm doing it, I'm going, hey, Mom, you taught me well, and I will wait until they're 4 leaves, Mom, before I transplant them. I can still hear her, all right? And then on the 5th one, you pinch it out because it makes it bushy, all sorts of things she taught me. Right, so Niash is saying it could be that I've always get a sad feeling and nothing tragic happened. Yes, actually, Christ died. It's pretty tragic. If you grew up in a Christian religion, it is a sad time because, it's the Stations of the Cross and all that sort of stuff. I want to tell you, I grew up in a nunnery. I was brought up in a convent, and I want to tell you my memory of Lent, very sore knees. We were in chapel morning, noon, and night during the whole of the Lent time. And, I spent more time in chapel during Lent than I did, anywhere else. So, to me, it's just like, wow, if there was a way to make sure I didn't do that as an adult, they sure trained it. It's just like, really? But, it was their thing. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to reinterpret grief. Thank you, Jonas. It works for me. It really does. It's like, what did my mom most like? She loved flowers and seedlings, particularly. She was always in the greenhouse planting seedlings and things at this time of the year. And so, to me, it's just like my way of connecting. By the way, for those of you who want to know, I think I might have seen, and it might be my imagination, but I might have seen some sign of life in Origina. That is the orange tree I thought was fake and left out in -12 degrees. But I think I saw a tiny bit of green, but as I said, it could be my imagination. And I found out that my hibiscus does a lot better if I remember to water it. I'm always so scared of overwatering when it's inside, but yeah, apparently it really does like to have water. So let's see here. Tanika said, when you said I lost 15 pounds since January because I wanted to. Yep. And Jody said, I learned that there are so many manipulation tactics in the triangles that occur. It's best to handle them carefully. Thank you for the pointers on that. It's a pleasure. I'm glad it helped. And to be aware of the manipulation. Yes, absolutely. Right. So, do you understand that you could choose Lent to be the happiest time of the year? That would be your choice. Right? That's your choice. I choose to be happy on the day that my mommy died because that is what she would want. She would want me to be happy. So I plant and I talk to her all the time. Okay, fine. Only put 5 in here. Got it. And then I can hear her nagging me. Okay, got it. And it's just, it is, it's my choice. I could be crying my eyes out every year. I choose not to. Yvonne reminds me every November the 11th that Bean Bean passed on November the 11th. I didn't, and it's just like, I could cry because you know how much I love Bean Bean. But, I now think about it and I go, what are the best memories I have? Where did Bean Bean make me laugh more than anything? Yeah. And for those of you who remember Bud, who was the camera hound, the dog before Bean was Buddy, and Buddy loved to be on camera. He wanted to talk to the people on the other side. Literally. Maybe he's still doing that. All right. Jonas is saying, every time you look at those flowers, you'll have a small physical connection to your mom. Yeah. How lovely. I might do that for my grandparents on the days that they died. And it's so close to their birthdays. Yes, absolutely. And what I do is at this time of year, I'm inclined to plant food. Is there anything I do to honor Bean Bean? Yeah. Quite honestly, same thing. Round about that time, I bring what flowers are still alive out of the garden. This year, I decided I would try and save my geraniums, and I did. And these are the cuttings. So, Jonas, if you like, it's the opposite. These are the cuttings I took off my geraniums, and they're more behind me. But and some of them will grow roots, and some of them won't. But I still have all the geraniums. These are just the bits I cut off. So I'm going to leave them for a couple of weeks and see if any of them want to live. And if they do, then I will have more geraniums. So, hi, Sakura, good to see you. So what I'm looking at here is you will never see drama the same way again if you got this today. Do you understand that? Jody, it's the pretzel thing, remember? You will never see the people trying to twist you up into a pretzel. You'll never see it the same way once you got that lesson, right? So now if you get this drama thing, you will understand that when that guy started to use words to manipulate me, I went, I am really sorry. I hear you labeling me and I choose not to listen to that. So I need to put the phone down and go back and stop that. Why? Because if I set the boundary, he knows not to keep doing that. And guess what? The next time he phoned me, he did the same thing. Luckily, it was on voicemail. And so I wrote to him. But, it's just like, really? By the way, when I wrote to him, I let him make his judgments. That's his business. I just kept to the facts, nothing but the facts. Didn't editorialize it, didn't say he owed it to me, didn't say da-da-da-da, just like, So we can, if we choose, totally. And Nyasha, you've got a wonderful example of what you are doing. It's Shrove Tuesday and Ash Wednesday. That's right. You have learned to filter out the incoming drama, Nyasha. That's what you have done. And I want you to see how well it's working for you, because your mindset is different. You've got people shooting negative arrows at you, and you have decided not to let it affect you. Right? You're just going, well, I hear you, but I'm not going to take it in. It's when those arrows, when those arrows get through and get caught up in our brains that, then they control us. Then they control us. And I don't know about you, but it's my job. I am not a perfect person. I hope you all know that. I'm pretty sure you all know that. I am not a perfect person, but I am entitled to live my life the way I choose to. You know how many people have said to me, Sal, I cannot believe you spend all this time on YouTube. You're wasting your time. And I go, thanks for your opinion. You see, you and I both know that I will continue to try and help people for as long as I breathe. How many of you know that? You're going to see me, because I think it's a wonderful way for us to grow. When you realize it's, Sal goes through this, and Jeannie goes through it, and Jody goes through it, and Sakura understands my packing nightmare and unpacking nightmare because I know she's been through it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like when you can see that other people go through the same thing. It is wonderful. Yeah, and Jeannie's saying she's cooking a meatless soup with bread on the 6th, right? For 15 to 20 people. I think that's wonderful. And, different people of different faiths will have their own version of this. I believe that we could all do something good for somebody. We could actually cook a meatless meal for 15 to 20 people, regardless of what day it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I think that that's what it's about. I am going down to meet with the group of women, not necessarily because I think I'm going to necessarily gain a whole lot out of it. I just want them to know I support what they did on Saturday. Does that make sense? I thought they did a great job on Saturday, and I want to tell them that. And yes, you're saying you're not wasting your time, because before MamaSal, I was 100% better than I was. Yeah, it's funny. Jody always says it's, BS before Sal, and I'm going, that is so funny, BS, Sal. Yeah. Yeah, and and what Nash is saying, I was worse back then, and I'm better now. You will keep all along the line. See, Nyasha, that's the whole point. We are all taking steps in the right direction, including me. Right? You don't think I'm not, I'm going to be concentrating on the drama this week. All right? Hang on, I hear drama. I don't want drama. If I take it on, I'm going to have to work with it. All right, but I am going now because I need to get on my shoes and go walk. It's my exercise done and walk back again. So this is DearMamaSal saying, I hope this has helped some of you. And if it has, make sure you leave some comments below on the comments page here to encourage other people to listen to it. Also, remember to click the bell if you haven't, thumbs up if you haven't, if you found this helpful, because that all helps Al, that's the algorithm, know that this is worth promoting. So the more comments you leave, the more times you pick the click the thumbs up button, then the more Al reacts to spreading the word. So if you think this could help somebody else, share it with somebody else. If you know somebody who's a drama queen, maybe send it to them. Send them the link. All right. So thank you for all your time and effort. I really am honored that you spend the time with me. Let's make this the least dramatic week of your life just by controlling it better. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.